Hello and welcome to Seahawk Talk on the final Wednesday in April, April 28th, 2021. I'm Ed Habishar, and as always on Seahawk Talk, I'm joined by co-host Andrew Pizzelli. Welcome, Andrew. How are you?
Good, Ed. How are you doing?
Excellent. We've got a lot to cover today because we've got 7 spring sports, not necessarily in action, but we want to do some wrap-up and some preview of what's coming up the week ahead for South Virginia Athletics. We'll also be joined by our producer, Gavin Parent, who's a senior. He just turned in a 32-page thesis. We'll look forward to hearing a little bit about that. But before we get to there, we're going to keep our distance with the shake. Yeah. Patrick Tower of The Shake with those lyrics, and Ed Habishar and Andrew Pizzelli with Seahawk Talk, keeping our distance. But let's add in Gavin Parent, our producer. Gavin, if you can add yourself, since my screen is totally full here. Good to see you on screen. We missed you last week, Gavin.
I know. I missed you guys too.
We had some games last Wednesday. Andrew, you had some home games, right?
Doubleheader.
Oh, yes.
It feels like forever ago now, but yeah, doubleheader. It was only a week ago. Doubleheader, men's and women's lacrosse at Gaudet.
It's amazing what can happen in 1 week. And it was a sweep for the Seahawks at Gaudet.
Yep. So the women got things started. Women's lacrosse. It ends up being their final game of the season. Obviously that was not planned. They should have been in action today. In the playoffs. We won't dwell on that too much. It's just the nature of this year. But it ends up being their final game, and hey, quite a way to go out. The Seahawks hosted Nichols, and they won 23-2. Big days for everybody. Another big day for Katie Doherty. I think she had how many goals did she have that day? 6? Yeah, 6 goals. I believe she's pushed herself into 7th now all time on the career goal scoring list, which she did that day. She jumped from like 12th to 7th in one game. It was all bunched up there. I think that's one of her goals right there.
Is she a senior, or does she have one more year to break the record?
She is a senior. Now, I don't know a lot of them. They'll have the opportunity to decide if they're coming back or not. I don't know how many will. I'm not sure. A lot of them are nursing majors. Katie, she's a marketing and business major. So if she decides to do a 5th year, she certainly could be coming back, and she could destroy the record book if she so wanted. But a lot of others who are nursing majors and stuff, this will probably be their last year, because just like last year, they are needed in the real world.
Yeah.
Same with anybody who's a teacher or in education, needed. Not that they're all not needed, but we'd like to keep them as long as we can. So it was a big day for everybody. I mean, everybody got in on the action. You had some freshmen or sophomores scoring their first career goals. I think we saw one of those there was Nora Trebb, swamped by her teammates afterwards, which is always exciting to see. But as I said, it ends up being the last game for the Seahawks. They were supposed to have their senior day that coming Saturday against Wentworth. That got obviously canceled. But just wanted to take a second and just kind of give a shout out to the seniors. Already mentioned Katie Doherty, and we had something that we're still working on putting together, but Coach Villarreal had given me some words on each of his seniors, so I'm gonna run through them and have what Coach Bill had to say. So we were talking about Katie Doherty, senior, very talented attack player with a relentless drive and work ethic, great role model for her team. Also was a captain. Another captain, nursing major. Again, we'll assume that she is going off to bigger and better things. Megan Ryder, what Coach had to say about her is an extremely hard worker on the offensive side of the field with a positive attitude, a very positive role model for her teammates. Senior goalie Christina Myers, who I know is she's been an all CCC, both athletic and academic selection, in the running for that again as well this year. Coach had to say a solid defender in between the pipes who takes a lot of pride in leading her team in the goalie position. Senior defensive player Kyla Salvato, marketing major. We could see Kyla back. An outstanding team player who has worked hard in all 4 years and rose to the starting defender position, shined as a senior defender for ground balls and clearing abilities. Kyla also was a two-sport athlete. So she played women's hockey for a little bit, transitioned to women's lacrosse, and as Coach said, worked her way into the starting lineup this year. And then lastly, senior attack / defensive player Hannah Smith. Just an overall leader on the team, highly involved in SAC throughout her time at Salve. She's an education major. I know she's moving on, as we said, to her career as a educator. But Coach said an outstanding team player with a very positive attitude. Started her Salve lacrosse career as a defensive and transitioned into attack position in her senior year. And then just overall, Bill said, I will definitely miss this group of talented players. These student athletes have worked extremely hard, involving multiple protocols and guidelines in order to play the game we all love. After their previous season was cut short due to the pandemic, having the discipline to come and compete this season, I give all our student athletes credit and praise on their accomplishments this year. I'm really excited and motivated for our next season of competition. Go Seahawks. So we'll have something more comprehensive with some highlights and stuff to put together for our seniors. Maybe a word or two from their parents. We don't know yet. But if this is the last chance we get to talk about them, just wanted to get all of that in. And it's a shame we didn't get to do it for a game. They didn't get one more chance to go out there, but that they'll have plenty of good memories. If this was their last game, was the past game, plenty of good memories and feel good moments to take away from that one. So,
thank you, Andrew, and I appreciate Coach Villarreal doing that wonderful job summarizing his seniors for us to share on this program. And for folks watching on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube, let's give them a little bit of understanding about the circumstances that led to this. Salve Regina was in great position to grab the fourth and final playoff spot in the Commonwealth Coast Conference postseason. If they had played on Saturday and beaten Wentworth, whom they had beaten earlier in the season in a non-league matchup back in March, they would have had the right to earn their place into the playoffs. As it turned out, we didn't play, and that allowed Gordon College to backdoor in a team that the Seahawks had beaten the Fighting Scots previously handily. So the Fighting Scots backdoor their way into the postseason. Not only do they initially grab the number 4 spot, but they move up to the number 3 spot because another team in the CCC had to withdraw from postseason competition. So that spot now elevates Gordon up to the number 3 spot. They'll play at Endicott, which is a nice close venue for them to get to, Wenham to Beverly, Massachusetts. And that playoff game will be tonight or this afternoon.
Yeah, it's a tough pill to swallow, but we knew this coming into this year. This is what could happen at any moment. Nothing is guaranteed. I think a lot of the athletes in all the sports understood that. I think when it's that close to the end, you kind of maybe start to forget that things could be ripped out from underneath you. But that's just the nature of the beast this year and this season and trying to navigate still the pandemic. So,
and kudos to women's lacrosse for doing everything they could. Whatever was in their hands, they took care of it.
Exactly.
There were things outside of their control that they couldn't control. So their season ends. But our other lacrosse team, the men's lacrosse team, their season continues. Yeah,
so they will resume play on Saturday. There should have been 2 games in between. They were going to play Saturday on the road. They were going to play today, this evening, on the road. Those games have both been canceled because of the pause, but they'll resume play on Saturday, first day of May. against Western New England. It will be senior day for them, and they will honor their senior class. I think after the game, they'll have a little ceremony. They have a big senior class too, so I think that probably factors into it as well. Not holding up the start of the game.
Right,
it's
they
funny.
have leftovers from 2020 in addition to
they've got
the class
grad
of
students.
2021.
They've got a packed class of people to give some recognition to. But it's funny. We talked about last game about history potentially being made Wednesday night. We came close. Pat Leary tied Andrew Farah for the all-time career goals mark.
Wow.
Could have broken it in that game if not for a great save by Curry's goalie, stuffing Pat right in front of the goal. That would have been the record goal. So after the game, we're saying, oh, man, Pat's going to break this record on the road, I guess. Well, as fate would have it, the Seahawks won't play until Saturday at home. So Pat Leary will break Andrew Farah's record at home on Saturday, probably very early in the first quarter, most likely. So that is worth tuning in for, seeing some history. And Leary, being a senior, will be honored as well. You just don't know with a lot of these seniors. They're going to get a senior day now because, you have to do it while you can. But I don't know if guys like Pat or some of the other seniors, will they be coming back? A lot of them will probably be making that decision sometime after the season, whether they come back for a fifth. I think some of these guys could even qualify for a sixth year.
Yeah, depending on what happens, they could qualify for a sixth year, which is crazy.
Which is insane to think about. Like, if Pat Leary plays 6 seasons, even though 2020 was 5 games, he's going to own himself quite a spot in the record books.
Yeah, it might be a record that won't be broken for a while.
It would it would be untouchable.
Yeah.
So looking forward, and I know the team is looking forward to getting back onto the field, because you felt last Saturday like, oh my God, it's over. Is that it? And for them, they do get, it's not like they get a reprieve, but a little, maybe a new lease on life, knowing, okay, we have a chance. Our games aren't it's going to go forward. So they'll be excited playing Western New England, a team that they're is a highly competitive team in the CCC. Lots of playoff implications as well in that game, so it should be a good one. 1:00 on Saturday.
Have they qualified for the playoffs yet, or they still have to qualify?
How much math do you want to do? I don't think we want to do a lot of math right now. So
they currently sit in third.
Yeah, but if they lose, and then depending on what other, because there's games that other teams played this week, which were conference games, because Salve was 3-1 in conference play, even though they'd lost to some teams. Those were the non-conference, like weekday games.
Conference play.
So the standings, I think it's really you're not gonna know. I think if they win, it's a guaranteed that they're in. I think even if they lose, they'd still be guaranteed a spot, because they're 3-1. Curry's 3-2. They'd have a tiebreaker with Curry, so maybe they are already in. I don't know. I don't want to get bogged down. I'd have to do a lot of math. I don't have my graphing calculator with me, so
every game that gets played affects somebody else. So you never know.
We can
so it will be 4 teams. It'll be 4 teams. So you obviously you have to be in the top 4. Obviously, if you beat Western New England, I'd say you've put yourself in a great spot. It all depends on Curry's really the one.
We've got the head-to-head win over Curry, correct?
Yep, Curry plays at Endicott tonight, this afternoon, 4:00, and then at Roger Williams on Saturday. So
two tough battles for them.
2 tough battles for them. Obviously, if Curry loses either one of those games, it won't matter what happens on Saturday for us, because we'd have a tiebreaker with them. Roger Williams, we have a tiebreaker with, and they have Wentworth and Curry. So Roger Williams, if they win out, they'd have one more win than us. So it's all in motion. As long as they're all conference games remaining. So it's tight. But you win, and you don't have to worry about anything else. So the Seahawks are in control of their own destiny.
So they say. Well, as we showed in this day in Seahawk history, Both men's and women's lacrosse had postseason victories on this date in just 3 years ago, 2018. So we hope history can repeat itself, at least for the men's team, coming up on Saturday with the regular season finale and getting into the postseason. Postseason does begin this Saturday for South Virginia baseball. They currently sit in first place in the CCC Pod A standings, and that's with a 7-2-1 record. Their regular season is done. It was unfortunately ended a week ago with the doubleheader at Roger Williams, unable to play the games, the remaining game with Roger Williams, the 5th game in that series, and then the 5-game series with Nichols College, the Bison. The Bison did play Roger Williams in the absence of playing the Seahawks, and what they were able to do against Roger Williams was 2 convincing wins. I'm not sure if the Hawks had their regular lineup as they played it in Dudley, Massachusetts, those 2 games last week. But nonetheless, they got them in. They were non-conference games. There are 3 CCC or 5 CCC teams playing today. Let's say 6. But they're all not. They have no bearing on the CCC pod standings. They're all crossover games within these pods. So they'll have no bearing on the regular season standings that we just saw on screen. So as the standings are right now in the CCC, Salve is number 1 in Pod A. They will be hosting Roger Williams, who they hosted here with the George Corrigan photos set.
These some great pictures.
Yeah, Corrigan
that was a great matchup
does
too.
Great job. That was games 1 and 2 of the then now 4-game series that they played. 2 here and then 2 up in Bristol on the Sunday. They'll be playing here Saturday, May 1, 11:30 with the Game 1 start. It's a best-of-3 series in each pod final. So the pod finals are essentially semifinals for the CCC. Pod A final, 11:30 in Newport, Brother Reynolds Field. Myself and Gavin Parent will be providing the call for that doubleheader on Saturday. And if necessary, on Sunday, the teams will play again also at Reynolds Field. I believe we get the home game. I'm not sure if the location gets switched or not.
Don't know. The last Commonwealth Coast Conference playoff game that the Seahawks played in, Roger Williams in the championship game 721 days ago from Saturday. So when they play Saturday in the playoffs, 721 days will have passed between CCC postseason games for the Seahawks.
Yep. And they're facing the same opponent that they played.
Facing the same opponent. Just like it was yesterday.
Well, it'll end up being a semifinal series. The winners of each pod will meet the following weekend, May 8 and May 9, May 9 if necessary, in the championship series finals. And that would coincide with graduation for one Gavin Parent. Congratulations, Gavin.
Thank you.
You are scheduled for a 1 p.m.
1 p.m. graduation on Mother's Day.
Super. And you now have some good news that perhaps Mom can be in attendance.
Yeah, they just released that you can get 2 guests in attendance yesterday, so you just got to RSVP them, which is great because originally I was going to have nobody there watching me graduate, so now I guess we can have 2 people. I think nursing all along got to have 3 guests at the graduation at 4, but now they're staying at 3 and they're letting the 10 o'clock and the 1 o'clock graduations have 2 guests. So it's nice. It's better than having nobody. You know, it's crazy right now, so it's better than having nobody.
Take what you can get.
Yeah, take what you can get at this point.
And
better than having no on the live stream.
And congratulations on your hard work and getting to this point too.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Getting your 32-page thesis in. When did you put it in?
I submitted that in last night. It was due at midnight. I think I submitted it at like 11:57.
So midnight Eastern Daylight Savings Time, correct?
Yeah. I had like 3 minutes to spare.
Ooh, 3 minutes to spare. That is wonderful. Well, softball, unfortunately, was unable to get its final regular season series in. They were also scheduled to host Nichols College this past weekend. Last Wednesday, up at Roger Williams in Bristol, Seahawks played a pair. Sophia Straza hit this incredible two-strike, full count, bases clearing double to put Salve Regina ahead 5 or 6-2 in the 5th or 6th inning up at Roger Williams in Game 1. The Hawks came back, though. They battled back. They scored 2 in the 5th, 2 in the 6th, and a walk-off win in the 7th with 1 run to take Game 1. Game 2 ended up with an early big lead for the Hawks. They were ahead 9-1 at one point. Salve scratched a run in the 5th after a long rain delay. And during that rain delay, we got to hear wonderful music provided by the Hawk staff on their broadcast. Here Comes the Sun from the Beatles, Walking on Sunshine from Katrina and the Waves. They enjoyed the rain falling while wishing for better conditions to continue the game. And Roger Williams took Game 2. So the sweep of that series, or that doubleheader, gave the Hawks a 3-1 advantage in the overall series and really pushed Salve Regina out of playoff contention following that sweep here. We're showing photos not only from George Corrigan here, but also from our Director of Athletics, Jody Moradian. She did a wonderful job at the April 18 Sunday doubleheader with Salve Regina hosting Roger Williams, and I just wanted to showcase her work on screen here for them. We can jump over to track and field, who is continuing to play. They were in action on April 17 here up at Gordon College when the Fighting Scots hosted a CCC Invitational. Basically, only members of the Commonwealth Coast Conference were at this. The throwers always go first, and then the running events are coming later. Matt Hurd's group competed for the first time in, I didn't do the math, Andrew, but we can guess quite a long time, because they were completely shut out in 2020. They had no action except for their last action had been 2019. So this is the first time he got to see not only his freshmen, but his sophomores compete.
725 days.
Thank you.
There's probably the 700 somewhere. That's what they mostly are.
Yeah. So that's over 2 years, or just about 2 years. And the Seahawks are going to be competitive. They were scheduled to be at Roger Williams last Saturday, had to go on pause as the entire university did. So no action for anybody this past weekend. But this Sunday, I believe it's still Sunday, May 2, they're scheduled to be at Portsmouth High School, which is in Portsmouth, Rhode Island, where Roger Williams again will host the Commonwealth Coast Conference Invitational, or the championships, on that track and field setting.
Yep. It's funny, speaking to head coach Matt Hurd about, hey, what do you expect? And he's like, to be honest, I have no clue, because you've got freshmen and sophomores who make up a big bulk of their team who have not competed since high school.
And he is so crafty at how he puts together his relay teams. But if you can't see them perform in competition, you really don't know what to do in terms of formulating your relay team. So he needed at least one competition to get a sense of what he's got.
He's got a better idea now, I'm sure. But that was just the biggest thing for them, is one, to finally at last get out and compete, and for the coaches to see the team in action, against somebody other than just the stopwatch at practice. So it was really great to see that they get out in action. And May 2, coming Sunday for the CCC championships.
And that's hosted by Roger Williams at Portsmouth High School. Roger Williams will also host Salve Regina men's and women's tennis. It's a regular season finale on Saturday, May 1, up in Bristol, Rhode Island. Adam Zakara's teams have been competitive throughout the season, and COVID has affected everybody, just as it has affected South Virginia men's and women's tennis. But they're gearing up to play their final match. It'll be the final match for senior Anne-Marie Haas of women's tennis. And let's see, Alex Azari, Clark D. Piazza, John Leonard, Will Chassie, and Aaron White for men's tennis. Congratulations to those 6 Seahawks, all playing in their final regular season tennis matches. They did not qualify for the postseason this year. Like baseball and softball, they were competing in pods, and South Virginia got stuck in a Roger Williams pod, a Nichols pod, and Western New England. And I think that's it, tennis-wise. I know Curry's in the baseball and softball pods, but they're in the other pod for tennis. So
Nichols, Roger Williams, and Western New England.
Yeah, we had tough competition on the tennis pods for South Virginia. Nichols, multi-time defending champion in both men's and women's tennis. And here you go with South Virginia having to compete not once, not twice, but more than 3 times against those schools when cancellations weren't involved, or weather-wise, or COVID concerns weren't involved. So congratulations to Adam Sakara. I know he's done a wonderful job not only recruiting for his team, but coaching his current Seahawks. And this just in, folks. It is that time of year, and I really am excited, unlike any other year, to give Andrew and Gavin a platform to really enjoy what's coming up tomorrow, because everybody watches the Super Bowl, or a lot of people watch the Super Bowl, but only 2 teams are involved when there's a Super Bowl. There are 32 teams involved when it's called the draft. And I know if you're involved in fantasy sports, in any sport, the draft is always the best time.
Well, big day tomorrow for fantasy football.
Yeah.
Big day.
So talk about what you guys are anticipating for tomorrow.
Well, what I think, it's always the most intriguing part of any draft. It's the position that gets the most attention. It's the quarterbacks. And I can't remember a year. There's always like a year where there's like 2 or 3 guys who you think, oh, these are the best guys. And there's always a third guy lumped in there. Like when Cam Newton came out of the draft, Cam Newton was viewed as the best quarterback. But there was actual debate around like Blaine Gabbert and Jake Locker. Like with him, there was like Sports Illustrated had a cover that was like the toughest choice in football was between Cam Newton and Blaine Gabbert and Jake Locker, which tells you this.
Those are the experts talking.
Which tells you this, that it is not an exact science. Mistakes always get made. And this year, there are 5 quarterbacks which could potentially be taken in the top 10 picks in the draft. The history and the odds tell you that at least half of those won't work out. One or 2 of them will maybe be starters. One of them, probably Trevor Lawrence. He's the most sure thing. Could be a generational type, star quarterback. The rest, a lot depends on who drafts them, who their coach is. I mean, look at the Jets have selected great quarterback after great quarterback coming out of college, and it's just never worked out because the Jets were poorly run. So it all depends on where these guys go, and there's just so much mystery at the top. Who's going to go where, and what does that do to the rest of the draft? You could have teams bidding like crazy to try and trade up to the 5th pick or the 6th pick because of the quarterback frenzy. Which means that good players slide down to teams. Which means that players slide down the draft board. Maybe a guy like a J.C. Horn slides down the board to the Dallas Cowboys, Gavin Parent. Guys like
to draft the cornerback.
Or maybe guys like Kwity Paye, Rhode Island's own, slide down to the New England Patriots and they select him.
Kwity Paye will definitely be hearing this.
The pick is in. So it's going to be exciting. There's just so much mystery and hype around this year because you just don't know. And the 49ers can set it all in motion with whatever they do with the 3rd pick.
Gabbert was a bust.
From Jacksonville, Florida, is Deb Garrity with her take on Gabbard.
Yeah. Bust. I think he's actually a backup now with
Tampa Bay, right?
Tampa Bay?
Yeah.
He just won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Who does he play behind?
Yeah. He has a ring the way
he plays behind a 6th-round draft pick.
Yeah.
he has a ring the same way Tuukka Rask has a ring, which was behind Tim Thomas.
So it is not an exact science. That much we know for sure.
Mistakes will be made. It's either going to be the greatest quarterback draft class ever because of how highly these guys get picked if a majority of them pan out, or
it's going to be Trevor Lawrence and others.
It's going to be a lot of teams are going to be going, oh my gosh.
So you're guaranteeing Trevor Lawrence is going to be
I don't see
a
Trevor
superstar.
Lawrence not being amazing.
Okay.
Especially because
What do I know?
the Jaguars have, get this, Patriots fans, I've talked about this, but the Jacksonville Jaguars, like we said, you draft a great quarterback. If you don't put talent around them, what happens? Well, the Jaguars have the first pick and they have the 25th pick. They also have the first pick of the second round. Who loves second-round picks? Your New England Patriots. So the Patriots could trade with the Jaguars and pick up some later-round picks so that they can fill their roster with cheaper talent. And the Jaguars get Trevor Lawrence, maybe one of those wide receivers who slips down the board to 15, and then a lineman at 25. And there you go. Now you really start to build your core around Trevor Lawrence.
The Jaguars have some weapons on offense. They got Chark. They got James Robinson. Yeah. He's not coming into a terrible situation. It's
not terrible, but you want it, get an offensive line. You got to protect. If you're drafting Trevor Lawrence number 1, protect him. Look what happened to Andrew Luck. He went before his time.
We will save this conversation for what show tomorrow night, Andrew? Give it a plug.
So me and Salve alum Christian Lauber host the 360 Sports Show, which you can find all over social media. But if you go to Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, or Twitch, follow us on Instagram. The links are all there, 360 Sports Show. We're going to do a live draft show. We're usually Sundays live at 11. We're going to do a live show tomorrow night starting at 7:45 p.m. We're going to do the entire first round. Christian is hopeful for the Patriots selecting a quarterback. When they inevitably trade out of that pick, you're going to want to tune in and see the reaction. So it should be a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Gavin. I appreciate you guys joining us on Seahawk Talk today. The final Wednesday in April. We'll be back next Wednesday, May 5, Cinco de Mayo, baby. And we'll be bringing you Seahawk Talk on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. Thanks to Deb Garrity for her comments within today's show. My name's Ed Habashar. Have a great day, everybody.